From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
And good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce. This is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, the solar state, the economic and environmental effects of solar energy on the state of Nevada. My guest today is Ms. Jill Lagan, the president and CEO of the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for being here again today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Appreciate it. Nevada leading the nation in solar job growth didn't happen by accident. That's what Nevada U.S. Senator Harry Reid told the press in 2015. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll tell you what's happening in solar-strong Boulder City. We'll look at where the congressional delegation members stand on solar, and we'll learn my guest's thoughts on what the solar industry needs most from Capitol Hill. Well, that statement from Senator Reid followed news that Nevada had the fastest per capita growth of solar industry jobs in the whole nation. The nonprofit Solar Foundation says Nevada has added 3,500 solar jobs since 2013. That's an increase of 146% from last year. In fact, nearly 6,000 Nevadans work in the solar industry. According to Solar Nation, Nevada leads the country in most solar panels and grids installed per capita. The organization says Nevada's on track to meet its renewable portfolio standard, which calls for 25% of Nevada's energy to be produced via renewable energy sources by 2020, with half of that coming from residential customers, and with 5% of total renewable energy production coming from solar. Well, one big source of that solar energy is right in Boulder City's backyard. The city created what it called the Energy Zone some time ago to lease land to solar companies. Just one example is the huge 450-acre Copper Mountain solar facility. It has constructed hundreds of thousands of solar panels, generating power for tens of thousands of homes, and created hundreds of construction jobs, not to mention thousands of jobs for solar-related and solar-serving industries. And Ms. Lagan, we got so much to get to today. It's all exciting. And I remember you contacting me several years ago when you first learned that Copper Mountain was coming to Boulder City. You were so excited about what it would mean to you, to your town. And I remember saying, well, we'll have to have you to D.C. sometime for a show on solar power one day. Here we are, here you are, and have your predictions about its benefits for the state. Are they coming true?
I'm so grateful to be here, and yes, I'm so glad that several years ago it was just a concept. It was just something we talked about. To date, with all the solar energy projects and some of the different projects coming online, we're looking at nearly a $4.2 billion investment in the utility scale solar energy facilities in Boulder City. Wow. That's huge, and that represents just under 16,000 jobs. Nice. 16,000 jobs with all of this construction once it's all online. You
must feel a lot of pride when you look at your own town. People would say, oh, you know, Boulder City is just some small town. It's certainly not small when it comes to solar power, is it? And a lot of pride seeing that all solar is done for both jobs and the environment.
It truly is, and I'd like to take our history back a little bit, all the way back to 1928. So in December of 1928, when they actually created the Boulder Canyon Project Act, that was when we created the Hoover Dam. And so we're starting with renewable energy clear back to 1928. Boulder City has always been a true component to the support of what the state of Nevada is all about.
You know, it's also helping Nevada meet its renewable portfolio standard, that deadline where 5% of the 25% of the overall energy produced via renewables has to come from solar. Isn't that right?
That's right. And so we're grateful to be a component to that. We're grateful to be a part, and looking forward to continuing that symbiotic relationship with the federal government and with our state and local officials.
You know, there can be pluses and minuses to, you know, any issue, of course. You're going to get people who love things, people who complain about things. What comments are you getting from residents about who have the solar panels? What concerns, what complaints so far, and what's being said about installment costs, energy bills, etc.?
You know, some of the real concern is, will there be somebody in the Southern Nevada area to service their equipment once they get it online? We know that that's part of the conversation with Nevada Energy right now, looking to see what they do in the future when they decide on the regulation of how it's going to move forward. But the bigger concern is mostly from the tourism side of things in Boulder City. You know, we purposely have a lot of land surrounding our community, and that was done very thoughtfully. Sure. And in that process, when you look out over the El Dorado Valley and you see all the panels, many think at certain times when the mirrors are reflecting that it's actually the lake, or it's no longer a dry lake, that it's wet. Those are actually the mirrors reflecting. So we do have some feedback that may not be so negative, but a little bit on the downside, that it's taken away from our desert landscapes that people are used to looking out at.
Are you seeing more and more people get into it, that you're seeing a lot of sign-ups for getting a panel, etc.?
You know, it's important to the city of Boulder City, to the point where they created net metering. So we do have the ability to make sure that our residents have that offering to them. That's important to them, and that is important to our community. I know that that's part of the issue with the Southern Nevada area and the Vegas and Henderson area.
Sounds good. When we return, solar and the Nevada economy, solar and your personal economy. That's coming up after this.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada, Jim Marsh Automotive, the Rogich Communications Group, and by Champion Chevrolet Reno.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Welcome back to Eye on Washington and our discussion of the importance of solar to the state of Nevada. We've been visiting with Ms. Jill Lagan, President and CEO of the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce. Well, we've mentioned the jobs associated with just the Boulder City facility, but the good news is nothing compared to the solar employment overall in the state of Nevada. According to a report released last year by the Solar Foundation, Nevada's solar industry employment grew 146% in 2014. That big increase, 3,500 jobs over the previous year, caused the state to rise to number 7 for solar jobs by state and to number 1 for per capita solar jobs. Meanwhile, sure, you might feel warm and fuzzy about your role in carbon dioxide reduction and helping create a cleaner environment, but let's cut to the chase, right? How much money do you reportedly save when you go solar? That's what you really want to know. Well, Solar Nation says that installing a solar panel would help you save as much as $36.44 a month. Plus, you'd get a 30% federal solar tax credit that allows you to claim 30% of the cost of solar energy system as a tax credit, and it does run out in 2022. Regarding your environmental impact, Solar Nation says a solar panel can help offset about 100,000 pounds of carbon dioxide over its lifetime. That's equal to the amount of carbon dioxide produced by a car driving 100,000 miles. So, Ms. Lagan, we've shared the good news about jobs created due to the Boulder City plant, but let's point out to our statewide audience the huge amount of Nevada jobs in general that are thanks to solar energy projects. You know, the Solar Energy Industry Association I have here says that currently there are more than 116 solar and solar servicing companies at work throughout Nevada, employing 8,800 people. It just goes, doesn't it?
You know, it's that secondary market, that domino effect. So not only do you certainly have agencies that are training those that are providing the service, you've got the research and development, you've got the actual production and creation of the panels. Out in Boulder City, we have photovoltaic, and then we also have the concentrated solar power, and so you've got different technologies. You have the battery trying to store, learning how to store the actual energy once it's created. So there's so much more to be there. It's an advanced technology, but there's so much more coming, and you need those people who are in those markets that are creating that are driving that, and making that happen.
And when you think of the kind of the job-crushing impact that the recession had on Nevada, it is such great news, this industry, that we're seeing as Nevada continues its struggle up from the recession, isn't it?
It is, not only because it's kind of a win-win. We've got the positive drive up, we've got things moving forward, but we're also reducing that carbon footprint. And I think that we feel good about the things that we're doing as we improve our economy in Southern Nevada and in the state of Nevada. You
know, Ms. Lagan, too, construction was one of the worst hit industries in Nevada during that rough time, during all those years. And you've really witnessed a reemergence of construction regarding the Copper Mountain facility and regarding solar in general. And I know for the Chamber, business growth, top priority for you.
It is. It's definitely a top priority, and we've definitely seen a couple new members come online, as they are the ones that are out there servicing those panels. But another really key important thing is Copper Mountain and some of the other solar facilities out there, they are engaged in helping our education programs too. So at the high school, they're willing to put an actual facility on top of the new high school. They are willing to train those kids, so some of those kids can come out of school ready to go to work in those fields, not only in the construction side of things, but the ongoing efforts as they have to run on a daily basis.
And as the cheerleader for Boulder City, I want to let you give a shout out. We say Nevada's the solar state, but I'll bet in your eyes, Boulder City is the solar state, solar center, isn't it?
It really is. I think we truly are the epicenter of that. You know, Boulder City has always had the relationship with any of the federal government and the state, but this is one of the key projects that really has put us on the map in the community, and we do tours of the solar plants, and that it is pretty special, and we're grateful to be a part.
Thank you. You know, we did talk all those years ago. We're going to get you out here.
Thank you.
There she is. When we return, where does the Nevada congressional delegation stand on solar? Let's find out right after this.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. every day in everything we do.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of solar energy and what it means to Nevada. We've been visiting with Ms. Jill Lagan, the President and CEO of the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce. Well, let's look now at Nevada's congressional delegation and what they have to say about solar. In 2015, the Solar Energy Industries Association credited that solar employment jump I mentioned in part to pro-growth policies supported by Senators Harry Reid and Dean Heller. In a release, the organization quotes Senator Reid as saying, Nevada having the fastest growing solar energy industry did not happen by accident. Our progress in the clean energy sector is an example of how federal and state policies and smart public-private partnerships encourage growth and job creation. And this from Senator Heller, quote, I will continue my work on policies that position our state to harness its solar power potential. Renewable energy development is critical to our states and our nation's long-term all-of-the-above energy strategy. And what about Southern Nevada's House members? When Solar City opened in West Las Vegas in 2014, Congressman Heck lauded it for, quote, bringing good jobs, building a new local industry, and creating a brighter future for the entire region. And Congresswoman Titus praised the center for providing, quote, opportunities for people from across the region to learn new skills, contribute to our economy, and build a better, cleaner world for generations to come. And Ms. Lagan, we didn't look at Congressman Amadeus Hardy since we're focused today on solar, but they, of course, also are positive about the industry's good impact on growth and more. But what do you think of Senator Reid making clear that, that the partnership between federal, state, and local governments and private enterprise coming together in support of solar, about how important that is?
You know, it's going to be hard to find anybody that says anything negative about solar or any renewable energy, because we know how important it is. We know that that's part of our future, and I'm grateful that we've been talking about this for so long now. So I'm grateful to the senators and also to our members that have really looked at the importance of this, understand that it is key to our community, key to the state, and grateful that it's something that is so impactful in a positive way.
The Chamber, Boulder City has a strong political advocacy component. How do your members reach out to federal and state leaders about support for solar and calls for funding and focus on the industry?
So chambers are typically, especially in rural communities, are typically the epicenter, kind of the clearinghouse to providing all of our members the information so that they can stay connected with federal agencies and also know that what's going on with their local and state governments. And so we make sure that we connect them by sending them the link, by providing them information on anything that's coming up that they need to pay attention to, and making sure that the words and the voice of our elected officials are communicated to them.
Sure. You know, we've discussed so many positive aspects of solar energy. There are concerns. What about the recent ruling by the Public Utilities Commission and the resultant new rate structure? Some are saying could greatly increase energy bills over time. What impact is that having on decisions on whether to install solar?
So I know that in Boulder City, we are not part of Nevada Energy, so it's a little bit of a different story. We have our own utility. I'm grateful for that, but also it does make us fully aware of it because, of course, in a rural community, if you don't have those epicenter metro communities that have those servicing agencies that we talked about earlier, if you don't have a solar company that can come out and service your panels, you're going to think twice about installing those panels, and now you're going to think twice about potentially helping the environment.
And so that might give someone like you concern, not so much, maybe a little on Boulder City, but more on southern Nevada in general, doesn't it?
Exactly, in general, because if there's not an agency or servicing center that can get to our panels in Boulder City or our panels in any of the remote southern Nevada areas, unfortunately no one's going to install those panels.
Any comments on it from your friends, say at the Las Vegas Chamber or other?
Oh, I am sure they've taken a stand on this. I unfortunately don't have those words in front of me. I'm sure that we could find that information out, but I know Kristen and her staff are very much aware of what's going on, paying attention, and they have statements out there.
What regulations and government news in general, what would you like to see the Congress do regarding solar energy and other efforts?
Continue to to move forward with some of the great programs that they're doing. You know, we talked about this many years ago or several years ago, and I'm super grateful. I think that much like the unmanned aerial systems that we will be talking about in the future, that's also a part of Boulder City. I think Boulder City is always going to play a key potential in the role of
the unmanned aerial system. You know, we ought to have you back for a whole other show. And just ahead, what is ahead for solar in Boulder City? We're going to talk with Ms. Lagan about that right after this.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
A family's presence in the hospital helps children heal faster and cope better. But children who need specialized medical care are often sent out of the Reno area for treatment. Costs can get unmanageable, and it can be difficult for families to accompany their sick child. The Travel for Treatment program, presented by Ronald McDonald House Charities Northern Nevada, gives parents travel assistance when a child's medical treatment is not available at a local hospital. Please contact us today for more information and to see how you can help. Donate online at rmhc-reno.org.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
And we are back with our closing segment of today's Eye on Washington. You know, Ms. Lagan, as we close our show, today's fun show on solar energy and growth of the industry, especially in Boulder City. What do you see, what do you believe as far as more and more residents joining the solar bandwagon? Do you see more people getting on board?
I do. I know that it is important to our residents. They are all very much aware of renewable energy is important to Boulder City, and they're aware of the footprint that they leave. And so I do foresee more solar, especially as the technology advances, as the panels become thinner, as it's easier to install, as it's not as expensive, and your return on your investment comes back quicker. I do see that this being one of those very important things to our residents in Southern Nevada. You
know, I know you care a lot about small business. What are you hearing as solar grows in the Boulder City area? Are a lot of entrepreneurial people creating or I don't know, getting involved in businesses that can serve the solar industry?
We just recently had 2 new members come on that are servicers and service providers, and we're grateful for them. They are in the Las Vegas Valley. I'm not seeing anybody in Boulder City pick that up yet, but that's, you know, that's a potential. We might see that in the future. You know, we're definitely part of that component, and we will help anybody that we can. We are seeing some of our businesses investigate and research and see what they can do with panels on their own businesses. I know that because we're part of a rural community, USDA has some different programs. Of course, all federal agencies that might have grant opportunities will make sure that our members are aware of that.
We know that you can save money on your tax bill, etc., if you do install a solar panel. But some people are a little afraid of the cost. What do you say to those people who are afraid, oh, solar's just too expensive for me?
You know, it's been interesting as our office manager actually just went out and had an estimate done on her home. And so we wanted to understand, are our houses positioned, are the roofs positioned properly? And they were able to explain that to her. Exactly how would you put this on? How would you install it? How do you service it? If you have a tile roof, how do they get to it? So there's lots of questions, but the industry provides lots of answers. So we were grateful for that. I do foresee our residents, as like I said, the technology advances, I see more and more, and I'm certain that those businesses will pick up on that too.
All good news.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here today. A lot of fun. Okay, we'll have to see you again soon, I hope. That is it for this edition of Eye on Washington with Marilee, Joyce. We are always here for you, though. We're providing all the latest news from the Hill that you Nevadans need to know. You can just go to our website, joycecommunications.com. Check out all the federal issues that impact Nevada while you're there. Like us on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Catch any shows you missed on our YouTube page. And again, thanks for joining us today for Eye on Washington. I'm Marilee, Joyce in Washington, D.C. Have a good day.